Welcome everyone to Visionary Psychics. I'm Sara Wiseman, and we are here with one of our Visionary Psychics, Susan Sisk. Susan, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sarah. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so this Visionary Psychic Summit is kind of we started a little while ago, and now what we're doing is interviewing those who have completed all of the training in Intuition University. And this is a really diverse group of people, as you know, Susan, because you've been with a lot of them, coming from all kinds of backgrounds and not necessarily this, like, I was born a psychic or I saw the departed grandparents at my bed. So I would love to just have you tell us a bit about how you came to this path and just what your background is and what it's been like for you.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. When I listen to other people talk about these experiences they had when they're young, I'm just in awe of that because I grew up in an area very kind of traditional Lutheran Catholic, and nobody talked about that. Nobody even really questioned their beliefs. And so I grew up in a very traditional Lutheran church, and I learned everything, but none of it ever resonated with me ever. And I was always kind of questioning, there's got to be more. This just doesn't make sense to me. And for a career, I have been involved in the finance world. I'm a corporate person. I've always been an executive in the corporate world, and I loved it. But again, I felt like I was being led to something else. And I hit the point where I was just frustrated. I thought, spiritually, I want to grow. The Lutheran church isn't helping me. I don't know what to do. So I just put it out there. I actually demanded, I put a demand. I wasn't even nice about it. I just said, I want to understand this and you need to teach me. Teach me what I want to need to know, what I want to know, and help me understand. And it's one of those things that be careful what you ask for
Yeah.
because,
Mhm.
because the doors just started opening, many doors, and then I had to choose which ones I want to walk through. So I started taking all of these classes in terms of what resonated with me or what I was interested in, and just a tremendous variety of things. I'm a very data driven person and I love information. I love to learn. So I've taken just so many classes to just try to understand more.
What are some of the, like, when many doors open? So, how did you ask? Let's just go there. Like, what did you physically do to just say, universe, bring it in?
That's what I did. I was sitting
Uh-huh.
outside, and I was reading a book, and it was introducing me to some spiritual concepts that were just completely unfamiliar with me. And I thought, well, this doesn't make any sense compared to what I was taught. And so I just said, God, universe, I need to understand this. You need to teach me. You need to help me understand how this works. That's what I did. I just demanded, teach me.
Yeah, yeah. And then when many doors, what are some of the doors, maybe even the doors you didn't take that started? Because it almost sounds like the universe answered and said, all paths lead to understanding. Which path do you want? Here's 7 doors. You choose. Do you remember what some of the doors were?
I do. And I think it's partly because I'm a kind of a data driven person that the doors that opened to me and that resonated with me were classes, spiritual classes. There was one class called the Year of Miracles. And I went in there and they introduced me to all kinds of different speakers and modalities and different things. And this was all completely new to me. And I
Mm-hmm,
was
mm-hmm.
completely intrigued by it. And so, once you start taking one and they introduce you to concept and you start investigating that and you go down this rabbit hole, and pretty soon I am just like bombarded with all of this incredible information that's just coming from me. A lot of emails.
Yeah, yeah. It's like once you sort of find it yourself in there, then once you find a path in, it's a world of information and
Absolutely.
lots of different styles. Um, when did the intuition piece start coming open for you? Like when did you sort of think, "Oh, I could do that," or "What is that? What was that like?"
So the I was so intrigued by that. And I really kind of stumbled into it because I'd always been intrigued by different modalities. Like I've always gone to a naturopath and just Reiki and different things like that. And I made an appointment with a little gal locally who did mind body things. I really didn't understand what she did, but I thought, well, I'm going to check that out. And I didn't realize she was a psychic.
Mm-hmm.
So when I
Mm-hmm.
went there, and she told me all of these things that, number one, I felt like I already knew at some level, but just really hadn't dug into it or acknowledged it.
Mm-hmm.
And she also told me some things that I was just astonished that she could possibly know these things about me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so tremendously helpful for me to see things different. She just kind of opened up my world and helped me see things in a new perspective. And I thought, I want to do that. I
Mm-hmm.
want to help other people, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that. And then I became familiar with you and started taking classes through you, and it just kind of opened up. And when I started taking classes, I thought, I can't do this. I don't have any background in it. And I think we can all do it. We
Yeah,
can all
yeah,
do it if we have the will and are willing to learn it.
yeah. I think we can all do it. And it is true that some people will, some people might. So if we talk about the path is understanding how to look at what's happening, what's coming, and what it all means. So you could do that maybe through intuition, like we're doing. You could do it through astrology, might be a good way. You could,
Yes,
some people like to do it through tarot and cards. Some people like to do it through body work, like you were saying. So yeah, but we're just trying to figure out like what's the meaning, like what's the meaning of our situation now? What are we actually heading toward, and what's it all about? And
absolutely.
it takes a very different. I've been having a discussion on some of the forums that you and I are in from the training. Um, the idea of like psychology versus intuition. They are really different. They are really different languages. They're really different, but that's another way. Like, how do we get people to a place of healing, motivation, meaning, purpose, all these ways of, being in their lives?
Absolutely.
As you've been on this path now, so we talk about entering in to receive guidance, in meditation and so forth. We do a lot of that. And then expanding out to just get all these synchronicities that are thrown at us every day. As you were on the path, do you recall any big synchronicity moments or disruptor moments that helped you? Because I remember I had intuition for a long time, but I still hadn't accepted it. Like I was learning, but I still thought I would be a novelist. Like that was still my dream. And there was just that one day on the beach where I had to just say, if this is my path, I accept it, I guess, or I said I did accept it. Have you had those kinds of moments yet, or moments
Mm-hmm.
of even more clarification of, yep, this is the new way?
Absolutely. And, I ask the universe all the time. But I remember one time specifically when I, again, was a little frustrated and just demanded, all right, if this intuition, if this is my path, I want a crystal clear sign, no doubt
Yes.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in my car and I was driving somewhere. And about 5 minutes later, I looked and the car in front of me had two decals on either side, and they were roses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the rose is one of the earliest exercises you taught us in terms
Yeah.
of intuition. And I use it all the time.
Yeah.
So to see that right in front of me was, the universe almost laughing at me, just saying,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Here you go.
here
Yeah.
you go, you
Yeah.
asked for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. What would you, what is your main interest now in terms of like if you were working with someone, like some people are really on the healing spectrum. Some people are really on looking at what's going on. Like what areas, how do you like to help people the most?
First of all, to help them identify what soul lesson they're working through at the time, because we're here, of course, to just go through many, many soul lessons. But when you're in the middle of it, sometimes it's hard to know what is my biggest problem that I'm trying to solve. And I think helping them kind of dig into that is extremely helpful to them so they can move forward. So that's a big one. The other one, I feel like these days we're so bombarded with external information, between social media, everything else. And we've lost that ability to really go inside and get that answer from within. So we're struggling to know, what should I do next? Where are my next steps, when all we need to do is go inside? And so I like to help coach people how to do that, because I feel like we've forgotten. We know how, but we've forgotten we're not utilizing that
Yeah.
fully.
For your own practice, so one of the practices I'm going inside a lot, like several times a day, and probably over asking the same, the same questions, especially when I'm in a place of not quite sure where things are going forward, or if I think things are going forward in a certain way, but then they feel blocked, like they're not happening. What is your way of dealing with information comes in, you know what's happening, and yet it doesn't happen in the real world? Because you seem like you're a person that's pretty able to demand and receive, but is that always the case, or was that just in some of those cases?
Well, I feel like if it's not happening, it's because there's something about me that's holding it back. I'm stuck in some way. And so what I need to do is really just sit and be quiet and ask, where am I stuck? What is the next thing that I need to do to move forward? And sometimes it's just simply overwhelmed, because we look at that big picture and it's just too much. And so sometimes it's taking that next step. And when you sit and just are quiet and ask, what's the next step I need to take? Generally, you can figure that out. You can take the next step, and then by doing that just one step at a time, it generally opens things up.
Yeah, it like untangles that tangled part
Exactly.
by this one little step. How
Exactly.
how do you think your work before, where you were pretty actively managing and dealing with a lot of different pieces, how does that relate to what you just said? Like, you're trying to figure out your way through the puzzle. How is that the same or different now?
That's interesting, because I loved being an accountant, because I felt like there were all of these rules. And when you follow the rules and you do this, you do that, you get this end result. That was like a puzzle.
Hmm.
When you're doing this type of work, at first I thought, I can't do this. My brain is, I've got a different kind of brain. But as I got more into it, I realized that it's the same thing. It's still a puzzle. You're looking for those patterns, and you're looking for, what's the next piece, or what's that strand I need to follow. And so it's really the same thing. You're just looking for different patterns.
Yeah, and there are rules. There are rules, like when, if say you're meditating and something shows up, the rule is go look at that thing, and the next rule is
Exactly.
go follow that thing, and
Mhm.
the next rule is don't have a judgment about where things are going, just follow. And so um, the rules are a little different. They're not in the, the tax code of intuition.
Exactly.
Or maybe they are, who knows what's really what's really the universe, how it's got it set up. But um yeah, anything else that comes to mind that you are thinking about, or that's coming to your mind now as we're talking?
I'm just so excited about this work. I feel like it's just opened up so much for me, and in my ability to help others. And I just want others to know that this is something that anyone can do. I'm in my 50s, and I just came to this work now. I wasn't born with this gift.
Hmm.
I just decided to develop it, and I did. And so anyone can. And sometimes you need some help, like having you as a mentor has been tremendously helpful for me, but anyone can do it.
Yeah. Finally, I guess, let me just think this through. I absolutely agree that, I mean, I have had a couple people that are maybe really trained their mind in like science or a
Yeah.
different system, and or even people that are um, really really practice meditators who really go into an expansion sort of state. That's a little different, because what we do is intuitive gathering, so we're not going into that expanded state of the void. We're really looking for information, but with that exception, how do you think, so you can do it, others can do it, not coming from any background, and like I'm seeing like more and more and more people coming to this. How do you think this will end up shifting a part of the world or shifting our evolution? Where do you think this is going?
Oh, I think this is going to make a tremendous shift. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch because this used to be something that was, very much, and still is for many people, very much voodoo and woo-woo work. And, they just
Mhm.
simply aren't even open to it. I think that's changing tremendously. Now you see almost everybody meditating. That's kind of the thing to do. And so I think this world is opening up little by little. And I think once people are open to it and understand, um, what it can do for them and how it can help them and how it can connect them to everybody else. I think it's
Yeah.
just going to, I can't wait to watch. I think it's going to do amazing things.
Yeah. Just when people understand you can use this to make your life so much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you're right. There's all those kinds of apps and things that are meditation that are really
Almost
training
mainstream now.
people. Yeah. Well, they are. I mean, if they're on your
Hmm.
phone, they're mainstream. So,
Exactly.
um, and this is just another little subset, but this is about gathering information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Susan, thank you so much. And I will include down below us the information on where people can find you and how to work with you. But thank you so much for your time today. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.